Barabara ilikuwa mbaya. Hata ukipeleka mama mwenye anaenda kujifungua, anazalia kwa pikipiki bwana.
Barabara imepanuka, kuna mataa.
At least sasa tunakaa tuko estate.
Sasa hii imekuwa ni much easier kwa hizi gari za zimamoto.
Vumbi iliweza kupungua vile iliweza kutengenezwa, vitu ziko safi.
From Kawangware to Kibera, Dagoretti to Dandora, Mathare to Mukuru, the face of informal settlements and densely populated areas in Nairobi is changing. In this documentary, find out the socio-economic impact of the upgrading of roads in those settlements, a project that is being undertaken by the Kenya Urban Roads Authority.
Informal settlements in Nairobi are generally densely populated, and mobility has been a big challenge due to poor road network.
Hapo kitambo barabara zilikuwa mbovu, alafu zilikuwa ndogo. Kulikuwa na wizi mingi sana.
Kama mizigo imeshukisha kwa stage huko, unatafuta mtu akuletea na kulipia bei na kwa bei kali, inabidi sasa ufinye wala makastoma yako.
Barabara ilikuwa mbaya sana. Mizigo tulikuwa tunaachiwa kwa stage, hata ndutia siku kuwa unatumia mkokoteni.
To remedy the situation, the Kenya Urban Roads Authority, KURA, embarked on the upgrading of roads in 12 informal settlements and densely populated areas from October 2020. KURA, as an authority, is tasked with developing urban roads to enhance urban mobility.
A few years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, we realized that most of the population in this country, in urban areas, they live in what we call informal settlements, or what we call densely populated areas, like Eastlands, Kibera, Mathare, Kangemi, Kawangware, and all those areas. And if you can be able to improve the road network there, the impact would be very high because of the population. Another thing was we realized during the COVID-19 pandemic, accessibility to emergency services, even evacuating people from those informal settlements, was a big challenge. And that was one of our motivation, to ensure that we provide their last mile access for every Wananchi who is living in those areas.
In the past, you have a lot of accidents of kids being taken to school in borders, in muddy environments. Now they are happy. Actually, the population of kids walking back and forth to school is very high, and they're happy on their roads. Remember, these are roads with slow-moving traffic. They're actually pedestrian roads. Yeah, so access to schools is improved considerably.
We don't want them to be left behind. And what we are doing in those informal settlements, because you can't do conventional roads in those areas, what we are doing is to do pavement, cabro, so to make sure that they can also enjoy it, and drainage. Because some of the problems we are having in those informal settlements, yes, there were no roads, but there were no drainage as well. So you find it rains, there is swamps, there are mosquitoes, there is disease. And so by creating these very good pavements, we are making sure that even informal settlements also benefit from the road programs which we have.
So far, the progress is remarkable, with some road sections having cabros, while others have bitumen, depending on the location. The roads are lined with drains on both sides to enable an effective flow of storm water and to avert any flooding during the rainy seasons.
The target is around 400 kilometers or slightly less. So far we have done about 300 kilometers. The percentage progress around 78%, call it 80%. We are hoping by April 2022 we will have covered all those kilometers. The cost is around 5.5 billion Kenya shillings. If you do a simple calculation, you will get around 13-14 million shillings per kilometer. And that's why we are able to cover a big scope of kilometers, because it's low cost. We started by doing what we call Eastlands Road Rehabilitation Program. We did 80 kilometers of roads in Eastlands, conventional roads. But we spent around 2 billion Kenya shillings, but the cost was a bit high to reach out to all the people. So we now decided to do what we call now low-cost roads, so that we can cover more kilometers in the other informal settlements.
Residents in informal settlements now say they live in dignity. Now you can meet children and the youth skating on paved roads or cycling so leisurely.
Kitambo ilikuwa kukinyesha, matope inakuanga mingi, inabidi watu wapite round waachane na hii barabara, sababu watu unapata ni wachache. Lakini tangu itengenezwe, saizi watu wanaweza pita free, wanaweza pita wakiwa wengi, na hapo kwa hiyo njia tunaweza pata customers wengi.
Kitambo ilikuwa na matope, kulikuwa na vumbi wakati wa jua, lakini kwa sasa hivi venye ilitengenezwa iko sawa. Haina vumbi, haina matope. Mali nafanyia kazi, wateja wanaweza fika haraka. Naweza pata wateja wengi kuliko kitambo, juu sasa hakuna matope.
Tangu barabara ianze, naona biashara imeinuka hapa sana. Hapa kulikuwa hakuna kitu, lakini saizi at least kila mahali unaona ni business. Napata wateja wengi, hata sipatangi matatizo ya kuingia kiza materials pandi. Vitu ile ya kuuza kama kuletewa mahindi, kuletewa vitu ile ninaweza fanya hata kwa kioski yangu.
Vumbi ilikuwa mingi kiasi kana kwamba watu hawakuwa wanakuja wengi kwa sababu walikuwa wanaogopa kukula hichi hapo ati imeingia vumbi. Sasa hii naona barabara imetusaidia sana, kwanza kwangu wateja wanakuja, wenye wako wanakula, sasa hii wanasikula.
Tambo tulikuwa tunalipia mzigo tukiwa barabara wakati haikuwa. Sasa hii hata gari inanichukua hapa nje, mzigo inaangushwa tu hapa kwangu kwa kibada. Mimi ni community health volunteer. Tumekuwa na access mzuri ya kubeba wagonjwa wetu tukiwapeleka kwa ambulance ama gari yenye itampeleka hospitali.
Aerial images of some of the informal settlements like Kasarani and Mwiki show how the densely populated areas have become much cleaner, organized and accessible.
Barabara iko smart sana. At least saizi hatuna hizo challenges za ukibebwa na nduthi unakuja unaangushanishwa, ama ukiwa smart nduthi inakuja inakusplashia maji. At least saizi environment iko poa.
The upgrading of the roads goes hand in hand with access to water and health services.
One of the things that I found very remarkable is the access to hospitals. You've seen that this initiative went along with building, hospitals that are spotted in all those informal settlements. And now mothers especially are able to access these hospitals, even on foot, without any challenges. So I expect we're saving lives in the process of providing this service here.
NMS, they have the bigger program of providing water, sewerage and street lighting. Kura, we are providing the road network and the drainage facilities. And we are working together and hoping that by the end of this program, we will have provided what I can call a resilient road network or resilient infrastructure in all those densely populated areas. Water are also working very closely with the NMS to provide water to the residents through boreholes and also through normal reticulated water.
Besides improved access to water and health services, the other notable benefit is improved security, given that street lighting is part of the improvements.
Biashara imepanda juu ya kuna security, at least kuna mataa, alafu najua kuna mahali unaweza kimbia bado. Unajua barabara ikiwa mbaya mtu akikuattack huwezi kimbia, utaslide uanguke. Sasa mtu akikuja from nowhere unaweza toka siaka.
Insecurity ilikuwa ni vijana wanaweza iba na waingie mafichoni, lakini sasa hii juu ziko accessible, tunaweza kimbizana pia na mwizi tukamate tuweke ndani.
The other socio-economic benefit of the project is that it is a source of livelihood for many in terms of direct and indirect employment.
Every time we build roads in Kenya, we localize employment. You want to see employment in terms of financial value. The project is worth slightly over 5 billion Kenyan shillings. 15% of that will be labor. That's just below a fifth. 1 billion goes into direct local labor. That's a lot of money being released into these informal settlements. And then the rest 35% is materials, which materials are primarily local materials. And you see, supplies for a lot of building materials would actually be localized also, as much as possible. I like Kenya in that in every place where there's a construction, there is a lady selling chapati, getheri, selling tea, mandazis and the likes, So that spread effect has also been felt.
The instructions we were given to the contractors on the ground is that all the non-skilled labor is sourced from the local community. Apart from that, you find that now, even if you are doing a small business of selling, chaos, selling tomatoes or selling those other merchandise, the cost of even transporting that merchandise from now source, that is the wholesale market, up to the point where you are selling them, has gone down because of the road is now okay.
Ukiangalia kwa street sasa utaona stage kadhaa za motorbikes. Hizo hazikuwa before. Sasa hivi kuna motorbike, msanii anaweza chapa job yake hapo. Bado unaweza tuma mse wa motorbike, hata wewe mwenyewe efficiency manze. Flexibility tu ya mtaa iko easy sana.
In a nutshell, improved roads in Nairobi's informal settlements and densely populated areas has led to improved mobility, hence improved livelihoods, and the government has plans to replicate this in other parts of the country.
Most of our big towns like Mombasa, Nakuru, Kisumu, they all have these informal settlements. They all have these densely populated areas. Our plan is that to mobilize resources and spread this program to other towns.
Of course, the priority will be Mombasa with areas like Bangladesh. We'll also target Kisumu, Nakuru, Eldoret. We have this assembly of Kisii, Bungoma, and those cities around Western Kenya. And each of them will receive not less than about, I would say, 200 kilometers of tarmac.
Very soon, I think the entire country, both rural, the upmarket areas, the informal settlements, will be covered by a very robust road network, which is what we promise Kenyans, and we make sure that they get more than they expected.